maybe one.
Hello.
Hey,
Oh,
sorry. No,
you go first. No, you go first. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Direwolf City.
Stole both our thunder.
But I mean, she always steals the thunder, let's be honest. But hello, everyone. We're here. We shall be a full, I don't know what the word I was going to use for.
Ensemble.
Ensemble. Thank you. Look at you. Always have
going to
to
say quartet.
Oh yeah, I didn't have. I literally did not have words. I like both a quartet ensemble. We can make it a thing. GrayArea. Since I know you guys are going to ask, Gray will be on. She's running a little bit late, but she will be on. I did want to start off with a super chat. Thank you, Celeste Baratheon's mustache. I love that username. Sorry, it's my birthday, and I'm so ready for this. Happy birthday!
Happy birthday! Or as Gus Gus in Cinderella says, "Happy birthday." Okay.
That was beautiful.
I'm gonna go to bed after this. I promise y'all.
I mean, I enjoyed that. I thought it was cute, and
You're a lunatic. I love it.
It is a full moon.
Yeah, it actually explains a lot.
Doing things to us. We apologize in advance.
Oh yes, we also have another super chat from the movie buff. Thank you. Protect Bela and Rhaena at all times.
Agreed.
Sweet
I think
baby.
even the Greens like them.
It's hard not to like her.
Right.
I mean, I think we can all agree between Bela, Rhaena, and like Helena. I think your name just has to rhyme, and we'll like you. This next super chat, guys. I want to warn you guys. I'm just a warning from Barmandu, a Negroni Spagliato with Prosecco in it. Sorry, I can't speak like them, but if you were around the internet this weekend, you know what those words mean. And you might be entitled to some compensation, apparently, if that phrase gets you hot and bothered. Let's see. We had
no idea what's going on.
You haven't seen the clip?
Emma just has a very smooth voice.
Yeah. Their voice is probably one of the smoothest voices I've heard in a while. And it's...
I have seen the clip.
Please remind me to send you this clip at some point because you need to see it.
Okay, I will.
We
I'll
also
text you
had
until you relent.
Oh, you don't even have to try that hard. I'll probably send it in the middle of this. But I want to say another thank you for a super chat from Tara Jimenez, say it.
Mm.
You guys, guys,
Sorry, it's involuntary at this point.
we're going to get to it.
Amazing.
We're going to get to it. We have another very
Mandy
related
hasn't seen it. Okay.
from Joe.
Okay. I thought you were
Alisha, move on, babe.
talking about me. I was like, I just said
No,
no,
you're talking about
Darcy.
me. It's not everything's about you, Alisha.
Okay.
So we have another super chat from each. Sorry, I'm sorry. I was laughing.
On
I
to
didn't say
the
that.
next.
Thank you. Keep my wife name out your effing mouth, says Daemon Targaryen. I think we can all agree.
Yeah, he really did. I love that for him.
I do too.
We will
That
get
was
also.
probably that was a top contender for one of my favorite parts.
Oh, I loved that moment. It was definitely a highlight for me. Oh God, he said, "Ground and find out," and I lived for it, every moment of it. We also have another super chat from Connor Cunningham. Points to Allison for Mom of the Year. Said no one ever. Oh, don't worry.
She really was batting 1,000.
Mm-hmm. This is my. We also had another super chat from Semper Pi Eat or Die. 1, Daemon was hard enough, and now we have 2. Let the games begin.
Which one of you said that they realized that Aemond was just cosplaying Daemon the whole time?
For some reason, I feel like that was Alisha or MJ that said that
I
because
think it was Alisha.
it sounds like an Alisha statement.
It does.
But let's see. We have one more super chat, and then we're gonna dive right into this episode. Oh no, Alisha. I'm like, what is Mercury still in retrograde? Because
It goes out of shadow tomorrow, thank God. It went direct on the 2nd, but we're still in shadow.
that's why. That explains all this
Messy.
technology mishaps. We have another super chat from the movie buff. Team Rainey's all day.
Yes.
That's our
absolutely.
queen. My queen. I love her with all my heart. She deserves all the good things in life. But speaking of Rainey's, let's start diving in this episode. Just so you guys know, MJ and Alisha will be on shortly. MJ is also having a technical issue, and
Everybody's
so is
having
Alisha.
mic issues today.
Yeah, and it's funny
It's
because I was
weird.
having a headphone issue earlier before, which is why we started so late because I was like, I can't hear. We also had another super chat. You guys have been on fire tonight. Thank you.
Thank you guys so
From
much.
Dro the Gooner, Allison created an uncontrollable biological weapons by poisoning her children against Rhaenyra and her children.
I love the way that's worded because it is so accurate.
Yeah.
It is so accurate. She absolutely did. She opened up a can of worms that she was not prepared for and completely got out of control, got away from her. I love the way you worded that. Thank you so much for the super chat.
Yeah, I would say that was very well worded, and I completely agree. And the fact that her uncontrollable biological weapon children have biological weapons of mass destruction at their disposal
do.
doesn't help much either.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Just to give you guys a reminder on our spoiler policy for the those that are new to joining us, we are going to do our hardest not to do any type of spoilers for people that haven't read the books. Please be mindful of in the chat, guys. I know a lot of you guys get excited about, some of the differences between the show and the book, but not everybody in the chat that's listening has read the books yet. So some people still want a surprise. So again, we're going to do our part to try to limit those spoilers.
Kiri said Aemond can't thrive in an environment unless it's toxic. Not me having something in common with Aemond.
I'm screaming. No, he really does. Like, he's like, oh, chaos. It's like,
Yeah.
no, him and Daemon are literally the same way in that.
They really are. That's why they can't get along, because they're just like, you just like me for real.
You are just like me for real. It's like Oh, somebody pulled it up on Twitter earlier. Sorry, I didn't have it. Like, I don't have it really available for you guys. But the quote from Jamie when he's talking about Loras and how Loras is essentially like him looking at his younger self, that's literally Daemon and Aemon.
Yes, especially when he rolled up in like those tight pants with that long hair. He's like, "Oh shit, time warp." You could see it in Damon's face. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna have trouble with this one."
That's where my wig went. No, I'm just kidding. So you stole my wig. I wonder where that went. We also have another super chat from Justin Perone. Love Patty Considine. Emmy on the horizon. I want to start off by saying his performance in this episode was incredible.
Amazing.
He was serving Targaryen realists, if you saw those clips.
My audio's messed up too?
Oh, I can hear you.
Jackie said, "You guys sound weird. The audio is scratchy." I'm so sorry. We are all having audio issues today. Maybe it's StreamYard that's having a meltdown. I don't know. But
yeah.
I'm so sorry you can't hear me well. I apologize.
Oh, I know. And I'm like, I can hear you. Sorry, guys. We're trying here. This is what happens when you do things live.
Yep. That's how it works.
Yep. We also have another super chat. Aemon goes to bed and chooses violence. Yeah. What
he wakes up and chooses violence. He eats his eggs and chooses violence. He's a hot mess.
He thrives on violence. That's just his bit. It's his thing. We have another super chat from Chrissy. If anyone in Westeros forgot Daemon likes killing folks and twisting Otto's undergarments, Vaemon's smack talk helped them remember.
Vaemon was, I don't know, he was very like double-sided to me because I enjoyed his snark, but I'm like at the same time, he's right though, so it's like you can't really, I don't know, it's rough.
Yeah,
all these gray characters making judgments rough sometimes.
Oh yeah, and that's how they're designed to be. It's not very clear what side is, I guess, the more morally correct side, because there's a lot of crap on both, and people should be mindful of that. Just throwing that out there when you guys are, sharing your hot takes on the internet. But anyways,
so many hot takes.
So many hot takes. We have another super chat from the movie buff. Do you think Rhaenyra and Alicent's rivalry might mirror Dany and Sansa and the A Song of Ice and Fire books, or do you think the two might get along? I could see Sansa in the books, when and if she meets Daenerys, maybe being a little cold just based off of experience with other people, but I think she'll also respect her a lot. I don't think she'll act the way Sansa did in the show, if that's what you're getting at.
I think by the time Sansa gets to the point where she's going to meet Dany, so much is going to have happened that she has built so many walls around herself that she's going to be very, very, very cold.
Yeah.
And leery of people that she doesn't know, people in places of power, positions of power. I think it's going to give her a lot of pause, but eventually I think she will warm up. I don't think it's going to be a Rhaenyra Alicent kind of animosity.
Agreed. And for more of our thoughts on that, you can check out our winter prediction playlist. We have welcome back, Alisha. Alisha?
It's so good to be here.
Boo-fang.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me? Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we're just testing.
Yeah, I'm back.
She's back. Yay. We have another super chat from Shane 52911. I think I added an extra one in there by accident. Sorry. Yeah, Vaemon was getting the axe after the shade he threw last week. Yeah, he was not long for this world. I will say there is a change from his death in the books. Not much of a change, but it's still a change.
Alisha,
the
are you talking?
change is in the book to think both sides are. You can hear me, right?
You're cutting out a little bit.
Gosh darn poop.
I'm
Okay.
so sorry.
How about now?
That's
Give me a
better.
sec.
All right. As she's doing that, we also had another super chat from Celeste Baratheon's mustache. Don't forget to like this, everyone. They deserve it. Thank you. Please, yes, like, subscribe, hit the bell, share this. Spread the love. Spread the Direwolf City word. I don't know. That's all I got. But yeah, there's 400 people listening. Please, if you guys could all, hit that like button at some point, we would greatly appreciate it. Alisha?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
thank God. Are we still talking about Vaemon throwing shade?
Go
Or
for
the
it.
change in the books?
We can get in. I just had pulled that one super chat up, but if you'd
Okay.
like to expound on your point,
Well,
you're
all
more
I
than welcome.
all I really wanted to say was in the books it left it more ambiguous about which side was more just. Was this going on? Was this going on? Whereas Ryan Condal seems pretty content to very much show GrayArea in as favorable a light as possible. So they're not going to go with that deviation, or like they're going to go with a deviation rather than what happened to Vaemond in the books.
That makes sense. And I wonder if they're saving that for something else later to make it more shocking, maybe.
Maybe. But we're not going to hint at things to come.
Nope, because we said it earlier.
That we are not. We made an agreement.
Spoiler free. Yes.
We practically pinky swore through the screen about it.
We did. We have another super chat from Wex is a secret targ. Was I the only one who teared up when Daemon helped Viserys with his crown? Please say it wasn't just me.
You are not. I think we all, a lot of people cried.
Most people cried. Sweet. You don't get to see that side of Daemon very often. And it was it showed how much we already knew he cared about his brother. We've known that from episode 1, season 1. But it just, I don't know, seeing him just kind of, come on, old man, let's get you to your chair. It was very cute. It was very sweet. And then he put the crown on his head at the end, and it just, I teared up too. Not too proud.
It felt Lion King to me when Simba's going up Pride Rock with that really epic emotional music playing. Just more sad. Less victorious, more sad.
Oh, it was very sad. I cried. I watched every time I've watched this episode, which is 2.5 times. I cried all 2.5 because it's sad. I didn't finish my third watch. That's why I was like, it was 2.5. But I got to that scene, so I watched it 3 times, and I cried each time, knowing it was coming after the first time. It was just a beautiful moment, honestly. We have another super chat from the movie buff. Do you think the faceless men will show up? I feel like that's inching into very big spoiler territory with that. Is it possible they could show up? Yes. With who in the circumstance? Yeah. But yeah.
No, not in this series. I don't think they're going to get into it.
I mean, if we know that they're faceless men, then that kind of defeats the point of their job.
I think it might hint at it just for that Leo DiCaprio meme moment, but in this particular reign, it's not necessary.
Yeah, like it could be mentioned in passing, someone like, oh, well, we could hire someone. But I don't know. I don't think so. We don't have any evidence one way or the other of that. So it could be a, creative decision on someone's part. I don't know.
Agree. We also have another super chat from Moni Cat. I don't know why I said cat that way. Hola, ladies. Do you think GrayArea and Alicent's toasts in the dinner were genuine?
Yes.
I think it started out placating, and grew to be more genuine. Like as Rhaenyra started talking, it was like, no, but this is right though, because she is. So she does deserve the credit for what she's doing. But I think it started out just as like placating. I think everyone was kind of placating Viserys a little bit, and you know, why not? He dude looked a little rough. I probably would have placated him too, but I think it started off more shallow, surface level, and then became something more.
I could see that. It definitely seemed like it, at least the words that Rhaenyra said did seem to touch her a little bit.
The reason I think it was genuine was because of that moment that they had before
Before they left.
Sarah's died. Yeah, the "I'll return on Dragonback" comment. You know, and Alicent was like, "Yes, please." So
when I was watching, I was like, "Oh, they're still in love."
They really are. It's kind of sad.
I liked that scene. It was a warm, fuzzy scene, and even I'm not gonna lie, I never thought I'd say this about Otto, but I liked him in that scene.
I did too. His little looks at Helena.
Yeah,
he's just like, you weird little thing. I love you. After she made that weird fucking speech, he's just like, good job, baby, good job.
Yeah. And she's so I think the actress who plays her is really good because of the way that like it was so realistic when people like don't know how to end a speech and they know everyone's looking at them, so they're like, yep, and yep, okay.
They swing their arms like, okay.
Yeah, the shade she threw at Aegon. And everybody thought it was funny too. Aegon was genuinely embarrassed. I loved it.
I love it.
Oh, but well, I guess we can get to that point because we haven't even gotten to the stills. We should get to.
I was just about to. Girl, how did you read my mind? I was gonna say we're gonna take a little time out from super chats for a little bit and let's get into some of the episode. So say we've been here for a good like 20 minutes and haven't started yet. So we open up the episode. We are on Driftmark. We get word that the sea snake, well, pause. It's been 6 years since episode 7. We get word that the sea snake has been injured in the fighting on the Stepstones and is currently in recovery at Evenfall, which is roughly 3 days away from Driftmark. Just keep that thought in the back of your minds for next week, is all I got to say about the whereabouts of Corlys. But essentially, Corlys' little brother, Vaemond, decides to, after getting word of this, say, hey, so what are we about to do with this chair if my brother dies? And that's where things get a bit heated.
I don't think in this moment Vaemond is wrong for being upset. I don't think he's wrong for wanting to be Corlys's heir. No, it escalated, and Rhaenys was trying to warn him, careful, because someone's going to interpret your words as treason. But his anger is very understandable, I think. Because this is...
That's kind of what I was touching on before when I was like, it's easy to be irritated with Vaemond for coming at them like that because as a supporter of the Blacks, you're on Rhaenyra and her children's side. And you're like, dude, shut up. Like, mind your fucking business. Worry about yourself. But you're like, oh, but you're right though. So I can't really go too hard because you do have a point. You got a point. However, I just don't agree with you. But I don't know. For me, the scene stealer was Bela being like, I don't know, Grandma looks comfy. Like, what do you want?
Right.
She does look comfy. And I mean, as we all know, Rhaenys should be the one on a different throne at the moment, but story for another day. I do see where Vaemond is coming from because personally, if I were him, I would be very, very upset.
Yeah.
Which is very understandable. But one thing I notice is they don't even bring up Bela or Rhaena's rights at all to inheritance.
They're girls. They don't have rights.
Well, I know. That's the sad part. That's what I was bringing it up because, like, figure where obviously if they're going by like agnatic law, then yeah, it's Vaymond. If we're, skipping over the legally declared child of Laenor Velaryon. So there's that. But I get it. I get it. It stinks, but it makes sense.
Yeah, and I don't blame him for wanting to preserve his house. However, he didn't go about it in the smartest way.
No, and the only thing I could think of, especially like when we get a little bit deeper in the episode, when they get to like the petitions and stuff, is what happens when Corlys recovers?
Right. I didn't get a strong feeling that Vaymond did not want Corlys to recover, but he was very much like, I'm not just going to sit around and assume my brother's going to recover, so we need to talk about this.
Right. I don't think anybody thought he was going to, because they were talking about what they call it, blood fever or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I think everyone expected him to die, or expects him to die. So, and again, I get where Vaymond is coming from, and I don't even know that he went about it the wrong way, because he played his hand really well with Otto and Alicent, and Viserys showing up is what screwed it up for him. If he had taken the milk of the poppy in the morning like he was told to and refused, it wouldn't have happened and everything would have gone to plan.
Yeah, he didn't count on that wild card, essentially making that play.
Right, which in retrospect makes it like kind of odd that Otto didn't insist, and he was just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I feel like he still was like, I doubt he's gonna make it. He's not gonna make it.
Right, like even if he is clear-minded, he can't hobble his ass out there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say something that might get tomatoes thrown at me right now, and I feel like, Mandy, you and I discussed this earlier. I don't think that Alicent and Otto are going out of their way to keep Viserys doped up for ambitious reasons. I just do think that they are very much taking advantage of an opportunity that's already there. I think that Otto does have feelings of friendship toward Viserys, even if he kind of betrays Viserys by trying to supplant Rhaenyra at every turn.
The tomatoes are flying at you, my love.
Whatever.
It's okay.
Tomato.
No, I definitely agree. I don't think that was their original intent, but yeah, it's definitely a situation they could take full advantage of, and they do.
Right. Because they're confronted by, Alicent is confronted by Daemon and Rhaenyra, and I noticed that Daemon didn't even worry about titles or anything like that. He just calls her Alicent, but they confront her.
In her presence.
Yeah, like, you got him doped up, and Alicent said something like, well, if you saw him without it, like, the pain is blinding. And I think most of us were like, okay, Alicent, whatever. But she wasn't lying.
Yeah.
Like, his state without it was awful. God,
it's rough.
Look at what this incest show is doing to me. I love them together.
I do too. And I was gonna say, since can I just talk about how much I love them? Yeah. This scene, look at his face.
Something that makes him happy.
He's so happy. He just wants to get eggs for his bibis. Like, look how excited he is. Like, do you think he does this often whenever there's like a new clutch, or does he just like go around Dragonstone?
He clearly knew what he was doing.
No, he wanted to be a farmer in a previous life and just go around collecting chicken eggs. He was so excited pulling that egg out, and it was so cute seeing him with the kids. It really was. Like, with Jace and Luke, he was you could tell, like, I'm not the stepdad, I'm the dad that stepped up, and he was very in there with them, and it was cute. It was cute with
One
those
thing
kids.
I really loved watching is the way Jace and Luke were ready to just absolutely brawl with Aemond, and Aemond just went, hey. And they stopped.
Oh, because they knew.
We could watch that scene over and over.
Big Daddy steps in. But actually, speaking of the kids, I loved this scene. First of all, we get introduced to Maester Gerardus. But I like Maester Gerardus. But we also get the scene of Jace studying in High Valyrian, and baby Joffrey is just kind of hanging out here in the back.
With his mullet.
With his God, I hate that hair.
His natural hair is so beautiful. I don't understand what was going on.
What they did here. I really have no idea what they were doing with that choice, but whatever.
Far be it from me to question the decision of people that really wanted this boy to have a mullet.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it, but it's okay. I'll be fine because as a person and a character, I love Jace. And his scene when he's like, I want to, honor my family's tradition and the, my forebears. And I'm like,
he's taking it seriously.
He gets it.
Yeah.
Juxtaposition. God, I can never do this. Juxtaposed to juxtaposed to Aegon.
Right.
Over there, who doesn't take it seriously at all. And it's not like he isn't raised to believe. Okay, maybe not to believe, but they're definitely telling him, oh, you're going to be king. You're going to be king. So,
yeah. Well, and I have to say one more thing. The casting for older Luke was phenomenal because he still looks just like my youngest son. I'm like, oh, that's what my baby's going to look like when he gets older. They look so much alike. Like, fantastic casting once again.
Oh, definitely the doppelganger. Definitely a doppelganger. They look so much alike. Literally alike. That's just like big hobby. Sorry. I was gonna say with on Dragonstone, after I was about to yawn because I think I heard somebody yawn. Sorry, don't mind me, guys.
Wasn't me. Couldn't be. It was I.
I know. I love you. So we have Daemon gets this letter from Baela. Him and Rhaenyra. First of all, look at her little bump. Look at little Visenya bacon in there. Little baby Visenya. But we get this conversation, and I love this glimpse into their family, like at home. I feel like the past 6 years seemed like a really good time for them. And they're like blended family. Like they all seem to be in a nice place. Yeah, like the kids seem happy. The kids are well behaved. Very, very different from other kids that live across the bay, but we'll get there. So essentially they get word Vaemon's going to petition his cause because Ceesake's sick. I love that Baela's the one who wrote to her dad. And I'm assuming like as soon as Vaemon left, Baela said something.
I mean, I would. Never mind. It's not. It's space filler commentary. That's not necessary.
Oh.
I mean, I would say Baela could have written it before he left. Not that deep. We're gonna move on. Okay.
Oh yeah, or I was say. I mean, she probably would have been faster if she just flew there herself. But budgets, I guess.
A CGI budget. Yeah.
Just want to see Moondancer, but whatever. Anyways, so the family decides, guess where we're going? On a family trip back to King's Landing. And I do want to point out, so this is a behind the scenes shot of their arrival. As you could see, the actors that play baby Aegon and Viserys were originally in this scene, but as you could see, somebody's upset. So they kind of re-edited that scene with them out of it.
Baby's kids.
Yeah, I mean, toddlers be doing a lot, so I get it. They're hard to work with.
You can see Viserys doing the little back arch thing that little kids are wont to do.
Oh, they love that arch thing.
Like the don't touch me, but hold me arch. Yeah.
I did see like some rumors flying around before the episode aired that they were cutting the two of them, which I'm glad they didn't because that would have really upset me. because I feel like
I saw a take that was like, well, they're just not going to be in the show because the kids were being cranky, and I'm like, you tell me how that makes sense.
Oh, right.
But I'm loving baby Joffrey.
He's so cute.
Yeah. What is he, like 6?
Yeah, he'd be 6.
This was a 6-year leap. Okay. I guess, and I don't want to discuss spoilers, I'm just putting it out there. I guess I'm confused about the ages in comparison to things that are to come. I'm just trying to like make sense of it all. But anyway, we don't have to get into it.
But I mean, it's making it more confusing, I think, because the ages have been changed.
Yes.
In some of the characters, and now we've got differences than what we're used to thinking in our heads from having read the books. And now we've got time jumps involved too. So we're having to math a lot, and it's hard. Mathing isn't easy when you're, us.
Was this episode supposed to be the last time jump or the last time jump of this season?
The last significant time jump.
Okay, well, something to keep in mind is that by the time they get around to certain bigger events that you would imagine the kids are older for, the actors who play them are going to be older.
Right.
That is true. I will say, if you guys have questions on the 6-year time jump, viewers, you can always watch the video on my channel, I Eat Zebra, linked in the description below on what you missed.
Shameless.
But, shameless plug. But I wanted to bring up something I thought was very interesting with this greeting is the fact nobody was really there to welcome them except Lord Caswell, who arrived a bit late. And it reminded me a lot of Viserys, Lionel, and Rhaenyra's arrival on Driftmark.
Mm-hmm. Like, where the fuck is everyone?
Yeah, and Lena just pops up. It's like, hey guys, everyone's inside, like all nonchalant. And we find out a little bit later in the episode when they're in a small council meeting, Otto did this on purpose.
Oh, absolutely. And
he's
you
like,
knew he would.
Oh yeah, I thought he was referring to the Velaryons. Like,
no.
we greeted our friends as befits their station. Because the person he was talking to was Harold Westerling. And Harold strikes me as a Rhaenyra loyalist.
I believe the Westerlings were on the Blacks.
Yeah, I agree with you with Harold's personal views, but if the Hand of the King's telling you to do something, unfortunately, it's kind of in his place to have to listen. That's the only reason why
it's not that. It was just like the dialogue that was had between them, like the verbiage that Otto was using seemed very like it's a bit smug for him in front of everybody to be like, haha, yeah, I snubbed them. Especially to a Kingsguard in front of the entire small council. Okay, well, I guess.
When you look at who's sitting on that small council, it doesn't seem as like...
I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know. They're shady, and Lord Caswell's a real one, and that's why we respect him. Like that I respect.
I love the way he came popping out of that door like the damn White Rabbit from Wonderland. Like, oh yes, my princess.
She's like, that's cool. It's me. Remember me when you were going up the stairs a couple episodes ago? I'm back. I'm still here.
I tried to help you. You were very awkwardly bleeding all over the place. I bought you some pads. Okay.
Didn't know what size your pussy was.
No, we're watching our language because we don't want to get limited ads again.
Sorry.
Oh, I know. Sorry. We're trying to be good guys. We're turning a new leaf.
But good girls. We're only allotted one PUSSY word per episode, so it's been spent. Thank you, Mandy. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I'm screaming. I was gonna say, so speaking of that small council meeting, I just want to say shout out to a real one, Lyman Beesberry. I love him. I say this all the time. But I like that we open up and he's just going literally over the accounting issues, and they're all just like,
who's old dude that looks like
here?
What's his name? Marin Trant.
Here?
Bottom right.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. This guy. That is Jasper Ironrod Weil,
Oh yeah,
the new Master of
forgot
Laws.
about him. He's just so forgettable.
He's just there. I'm just like, eh. And also for a new addition of the small council, we have Grand Maester Orwile. So Maester Mellows is dead.
Thank God.
Good.
Very
riddance.
unceremonious death for him, but he's gone. He's no longer with us.
He didn't know what he was doing.
He did not know what he was doing.
He was like that
Very
doctor from The
incompetent.
Simpsons. It's like, hey, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Yes.
We also have
He was nothing to write home about. I'm glad he's gone.
yeah. Maester
He was
Mellows
off
always
from the
amazing.
moment he suggested to cut open Ama. So may his character rot.
Yeah, he's a caca. He's a big caca. We also in this scene, I feel like they didn't really discuss too much of importance besides Otto being like, our guests. And
I thought it was
Beesberry just being Beesberry.
I thought it was interesting because when the small council scene opens up, they're talking about finances. And they're all just like, Beesbury's going on, and they're like, yeah, we don't freaking care. And as soon as Alicent comes out, or Alicent leaves the room, Otto says something about, should we talk about the taxation of wool? It's like gross. I don't know. Maybe
Alisha? Oh, your audio.
Did she cut out? Yeah.
At the tail end of it.
I thought it was interesting.
She thought it was interesting, whatever she was talking about.
Sorry, Alicia, you cut out for like a brief second at the end. Oh, they did actually discuss a bit of the succession here before I move on too quickly. And Lyman Beesberry is confused, but not in his general, like, oh, we moved subjects, but he's just confused as to why this is even being brought up. Because he's like, well, Viserys is the heir. Corlys said he's the heir. Laenor said he's essentially his son. Why are we even talking about this? And then you have a few different points being brought up. Well, oh, he's a child and war may be coming soon. Do we need a child in charge of this fleet and blah, blah, blah. But as Beesberry points out, ability and age do not discount anybody from an inheritance, legally speaking.
Right. And like, he's basically like, I don't know why you're stirring the pot right now. Everything's decided. All you're doing is causing problems. And I mean, again, I get why, but when everyone else is like, dude, this is solved, your presence is no longer needed, and he just keeps going, I get why that's irritating too, and why like there was pushback from the other side, even from Rhaenys, who had voiced her opinion that the girls should be the ones to inherit. And she like, we saw her upset with Corlys for the first time during that conversation. And even she was like, no, yeah, you need to shut up, Raymond.
Yeah. And also, I meant to bring this up earlier. Corlys and Rhaenys haven't seen each other in about 6 years. So after the death of Laenor, it seems like things got a lot worse between the two.
Right.
Yeah. Which is sad because they're personally my favorite couple on the show.
Me too.
But hopefully mom and
For
dad.
this episode, my favorite was Daemon and Rhaenyra.
Oh, hands down.
Their
absolutely.
on-screen chemistry, the on-screen chemistry between Emma and Matt is phenomenal. They feed off of each other's energy so well.
I feel this episode was, in my opinion, their chemistry seemed stronger than it did the previous one.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, I agree.
We also, before we move to keep moving forward with the episode, I did want to catch up on some super chats. Thank you guys. We have one from Cosa Nostra G. I wanted the king to take his tongue, not head. That's in regards to Vaemon, but as Damon said, he could
Who do you think would have held Vaemon down while Viserys sat there and probably would have slipped with the dagger?
probably one of the twins, I'd imagine.
Yeah, Arah and Eric.
But I loved it the way he pulled the blade. Like, what the hell are you gonna do with that?
Pop. What do you think you're doing?
No, he was so cute
Barely
for
lift your
that.
toothbrush.
I loved him for that.
He just pulled out the dagger, like.
He tried so
Damon's
hard.
like, I got you.
In 20
It's like, I
minutes
got
when I
this.
make it over there, I'm gonna mess you up, bro.
The guard sees him. I'll be right there.
Exactly how I picture that happening if he actually tried to do that himself.
No, seriously, like, oh, okay, mixed feelings. Not mixed feelings, but mixed bag when he drew that dagger. I was like, oh man, Vaemon did it now. But mostly what was overpowering it all was like, dude, really?
Please stop.
What are you gonna do with that dagger?
Like, before you put it down before you hurt yourself. We have a couple
I
other
feel like
super
he
chats.
practically slapped him in the face with the glove. Okay.
I actually would have loved to see that. We have another super chat. Thank you from Vanessa Bulgare. Poor Viserys, no companion to watch over him at night, no one cleaning his room, not getting many visitors. I wanted him to disinherit everyone at the dinner, just tell them to hell with y'all. I agree. They didn't show it on the show. I know in Fire and Blood that Helena and her children used to visit Viserys every night before going to bed. And I'm just assuming, hopefully, that just got put on the cutter room for just because I would love to have seen that. But
I feel like deleted scenes when we get bonus features is about to be lit. Because there's a lot that's left out, and I can understand why. And I think those deleted scenes, I don't know. There's just a lot going on during the setup. Like, I have a lot of confidence that once season 2 commences, we are about to get fed with all the details, everything we could possibly want. But I felt like season 1, yes, I know it's a setup, but it's left much to be desired for me personally.
I see it. We have another super chat from Daisy of House Lancaster. Viserys going into that throne room to stand up for his daughter and even taking out the cat spot dagger had me in tears. He stood by her until the end.
Well, now I feel bad for laughing at him.
Oh, honestly, I was here for it because I was like, he loves her. He really does. He could bust it. He probably would have busted his butt trying to take that blade. I was nervous he was about to fall trying to do that.
Right.
Like, sir, you do not have the coordination
I was so
for
afraid
this.
he was gonna fall and cut himself on the swords. I was so afraid. Like, why? I don't know, because I can't stand him. But I'm like, no, old man, don't fall.
I actually ended up feeling sorry for Viserys this episode, and I just never feel sorry for him.
He got what he deserved. He set that karmic bed for himself.
Like I joked on Twitter this weekend, I think Aemma cursed him for what he did, but that's neither here nor there. We have another super chat. Speaking of cursed-looking Viserys, from Melissa Downey. Thank you. The way the king's rotted face was on the green side, Allison was also on the rotted side in the scene. Intentional, hint to who was responsible.
I didn't think of it that way, but I do like that. It's canon. We're keeping it.
Yeah, I definitely think it might have been intentional because the side where he's missing an eye is the side that is on Alicent's, but where he can see, it's Daemon and GrayArea. And I feel like definitely an intentional choice, and maybe to the fact that he's blind at Alicent's ambitions. Go Alisha.
I was gonna say it's symbolic for turning a blind eye all those years.
Boom. It really is. We have another super chat from E. Jovu. What happened with Viserys' arm? Did his arm respawn, or did I imagine it respawned?
I think it was always that length.
Oh, okay.
Because it was his arm up to the elbow.
Oh, okay. So it was just like okay, got it. I was
Yeah.
visualizing.
Mhm.
We have another super chat from the movie buff. Do you think Moon Dancer and Morning will appear? Hopefully.
I think so. At this point, I think it's that makes me wonder what they're saving all the CGI budget for. So I do wonder if we're not going to get a pretty big dragon event in episode 10 or something. Like if they're saving up.
See, I figured that's what they were saving up for.
I have a question. I'm trying to say this as non-spoilery as possible. That certain event that really kicks things off, do we think that's a season 2 thing or quite possibly an episode 10 thing?
I think episode 10.
Okay.
Personally. Just based off of how the pacing's gone so far.
True.
In a scene a little bit later.
Do we have any more super chats?
We do, but I did want to take a quick pause so we can get back into the episode. Mindy, did you have something to say?
Nope, go for it.
Okay, so moving on, we get this really touching scene where Rhaenyra and Daemon visit Viserys and see him in his condition for the first time, as well as introducing Viserys to their two children, Aegon and also Viserys, with a big noticeable difference on their heads. They're blonde. That was the difference, guys. They're blonde.
You know what's funny? Okay. Well, if you want to get down into the reads, because it looks like Rhaenyra and Daemon had a Valyrian style wedding. So their wedding, like their marriage is lawful, right? Like
Yes,
even though Laenor is still alive. Yeah. Okay.
No one knows he's alive.
What?
No one knows he's alive.
Sorry. Right. I suppose it's all in perception. Right. But I was going to say, wouldn't it just be really, really funny if the kids that, like her first kids, are bastards and she knows it, but the kids she thinks are trueborn are. Anyway, okay. It would have just been funny if she had all bastards.
No, the only thing this scene made me think was, see, his dick does work.
Oh, seriously, it does. One thing I will say that really got me in this scene is if anybody, like you guys and whoever's listening, if you've dealt with like a family member or a person that you love and admire a lot in the way that Daemon admires and looks up to his older brother, Viserys is like, he worships Viserys. So his reaction of like not really even being able to look at his brother and the pain he feels, and he's just like, no, this isn't right. What happened to you? Like that hurt. I think Matt Smith, without even saying much, did such a good job at portraying those emotions with just body language, like the look and then I can't look at you. This is not the man I know.
Yeah,
I thought he did such a good job.
Matt Smith is a very good emotional actor.
If we have any listeners out there that make fan cams, I would love to see a fan cam of Viserys and Daemon set to My Immortal by Evanescence, please and thank you.
Oh, yeah, please make that happen and tag all of us in it, please.
But I don't know if I agree that he like worshipped Viserys. I think he really loved him. He said in the first episode, "You're weak." So I mean,
yeah, Daemon doesn't worship anyone but himself.
So I should put it this way: not necessarily like worship, but he really admires his older brother, like a lot. From what I've listened to from like the cast, directors, and stuff like that in their interviews, they make it very clear Daemon really loves his older brother. Like he would do anything for his older brother. Seems like to the point that he might be with Rhaenyra because she's an extension of Viserys.
Which is really gross, but I put nothing past the dark.
It's definitely giving Jaime Cersei, you're an extension of myself levels of narcissism. But
hey Siri, how do I do my brother without doing my brother?
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Marry your niece instead. No, I'm just kidding. But we do get that line
But
from
no,
Viserys
the
and
acting
Queen.
was phenomenal. You could see, I mean, Rhaenyra's sadness was very apparent, but Daemon's was very, I don't know. Like we just, was it episode 3 when he ran on the beach by himself? Whichever episode that was.
Oh, when he went on his like little mission.
We saw his nonverbal acting chops early on. Speaking of nonverbal acting chops, is it Ewan? Ewan Mitchell?
Yes.
The guy who plays Aemond?
Ewan, yes.
Oh my gosh.
Look at you go.
I did not expect to enjoy seeing Aemond on screen.
Oh, I knew I
He
would.
was enjoyable.
I did not, anyway,
cannot
moving
stand
forward.
the character, but watching the actor was very enjoyable.
Yeah, he's
He's very menacing.
Yeah, I think it's the way he smiles is very creepy because he doesn't have lips, and so it kind of like curves in on itself. I don't know. It's very creepy.
Yeah, like a puppet.
Yes, like a puppet, like a creepy little one-eyed puppet.
Yeah, no, he's a bit of a creep. I did want to say before we moved on from this scene,
my favorite thing he said. Oh,
I just wanted to before we can get into Aemon stuff, I just wanted to quickly say I did want to point out the book line that was in this scene with Viserys and baby Viserys when he says, "Now that is a name fit for a king," which Easter egg for the future. That's all I had to say about that.
Stop doing that.
Huh?
No spoilers, remember?
I mean, it's
no
not really a
spoilers.
spoiler. It's an Easter egg for the future. I mean,
yes, it is. Okay.
But
all right.
What was I going to say?
Okay. So before we get into this scene, I think that it's very fair that we give a disclaimer. This scene is actually very triggering. So we are going to spend only as much time on it as we deem necessary. Try not to spend a whole lot of time in general, but guys, be kind to each other in the chat. Yes. Let's try to watch what we say in the chat and try to be very conscious about how you might be triggering somebody else. So, with that said, who wants to get into this god-awful scene first?
So, I'll go for it. Alicent gets word from I was about to do the mistake she did. Sir Eric, they're twins. We meet them. They're Cargyles. They're identical. One of them delivers her some news. There's an incident with, one of the handmaids and Prince Aegon. That is when we find out from Diana here that she was assaulted by Prince Aegon. And Alicent does offer her sympathies at first because obviously, as we've seen in the show, Alicent has also been on that side. Not as aggressively as Diana was. However, it's still a form of that. And I'm really dancing around the word here because I don't want to upset anybody. And again, this is a very hard topic to talk about.
We'll just say taking advantage.
But yes, Alicent has also been taken advantage of in that situation. Obviously, different circumstances, but nonetheless, she's been on that receiving end. So I do feel like a part of her was very genuinely sympathetic towards Diana. However, political mom version of her, with this happening the day Rhaenyra's arriving, and Daemon and the Velaryon family, this obviously at any time is awful, but for this day, for this to be occurring is very, very, very untimely. Again, untimely no matter which way you put it. And it also seems like this isn't the first time Aegon's been in a situation like this.
Yeah, and it's like they all knew what to do non-verbally.
Yeah, it literally was a lot of nonverbal cues, so you could kind of tell. And it seems like from what we've heard of with Moon Tea, which Rhaenyra was given to at the end of episode 4, is that it's very hard to brew. It's not something that most people keep on tap, unless I'm assuming, unfortunately, this is a regular unfortunate regular or semi-regular occurrence where they need to keep this type of stuff on tap because of somebody's or
it wasn't Moon Tea and she poisoned her.
I'm
Because
seeing a lot of that in the chat.
My initial thought was, she's going to kill her. Oh my God, she's going to kill her. She's going to have her killed. That's how she's going to take care of this little quote unquote problem that Aegon has made. I'm saying that very glibly. I know it's much more than a problem. What I'm meaning is that's the way Alicent is approaching it. Like, ugh, another one of your messes I have to clean up, with almost no regard for Deanna, who is the victim in this case, who's been hurt very badly. And I think that Alicent probably poisoned her and got rid of her to save Aegon's reputation.
Oh, see, I read it as Moon Tea, and then the money was compensation for her being let go. Is how I kind of read the scene. But I could see it on the other side of her being like, shh. And then maybe have somebody go back and collect the hush money.
I think that's how Alicent wanted to make it look.
Mm.
But I don't think that's what actually happened. I think she's like, no, yeah, we're just going to gaslight you and make you blame yourself. And then now drink this, and then I don't have to worry about you anymore.
Yeah, and the thing is, too, is we know from, like, other characters, like Lysa Arryn, for example, Moon Tea not brewed properly could have really bad side effects.
That too.
The way they're just flinging it around.
Yeah.
But okay, so I guess when the scene first started, the way that Alicent was looking down on Diana, I'm still having a hard time reading that, because there was clearly like, it's like, I don't know, like for a second there, as Mandy said, she had me in the first half. I thought that Alicent was gonna be likable.
I know.
In this
I had
scene.
so much hope. I had so much hope.
Yeah, and you can tell she was seeing, and maybe that's where some of the resentment in the very beginning was coming in. Like she could see a lot of herself in Diana in a way, because not being in a position to say no to a prince or a king or something like that, like she gets it. However, it's like she doesn't get, like she gets it, but she's a hypocrite, you know? And so she even says, like, I believe you. And the girl's hyperventilating. She's just been through trauma. She's been through a lot. And for Alicent to turn around and be like, I believe you. I believe you. I do worry though, you know? And so yeah. I don't, like, it was horrible. It was a form of manipulation for sure. But I guess I didn't really think about the fact that Alicent maybe poisoned her initially. I was very scared for that girl's life though. I thought she was going to be dragged away or whatever like that, because the girl's like, I'm not going to say anything to anyone. And she's like, but you already said something to 2 people. So I don't know. I think Olivia Cook in an interview says that Alicent does some pretty despicable things, and that's just within this season. So I wouldn't put it past her if she did. Because realistically, if you are that concerned about Aegon's reputation and you let that girl go, whether it's like firing her or just letting her stay there and go about her life, and she's not taking the steps to protect what she wants to protect, and don't get me wrong, taking the steps to protect it are horrible and wrong. However, she's going to cover her bases because she wants her son to be a king. And the best way to make him a king is to not sully or besmirch his reputation, as she said.
Honestly, for 2 seconds, I thought she was going to take her tongue out. That way she couldn't say anything. But that doesn't seem to be her style. But I wanted to also point out, I want to say like a huge, like big, super big props to the director of this episode. Her name is Geeta. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Geeta Patel. And I feel like the way this scene was done very well. I feel like other people may have actually shown what happened to her to like yeah, trauma, rather than the choice that was made here by just showing her reaction to what happened. I think that was done. It was a great choice by the writing team and the director for choosing to go that way because
You know,
obviously
it's
very
so funny.
heavy subject
because-
matter, but I think a different show would have shown it.
It's really funny because when I first saw that the director was going to be a woman, I was like, what kind of screwery are we in for this episode?
If that was gonna be
And here we-
horny.
What?
Oh, I was saying, what did you say?
I'm trying not to say the F word because
Oh,
we're trying to be good. I was going to say fuckery. We can say that once, right? Like a PG-13 movie.
yeah,
We can have one F word as a treat.
yeah. So you used our F word and Mandy used our P word. Oh man, there's no
I
words
used the
for
F
me.
word earlier too, so that was the second F word.
Well,
Guys,
dang,
no
you just
words.
man.
Hey, I said it first. That was your fault.
Now you've cost us. Okay, but no, Allison, bottom line, objectively, horrible person, handled this really, really horribly. But she did confuse me quite a bit through this because for 1 second you're like, okay, she gets it, and then on another level you're like, okay, but even as a mother that would do anything to protect your kids, there was no other way to handle this other than making that girl feel like dung dookie poo poo shit.
Apparently not.
Not to mention probably poisoning her. I mean, crud. Like, anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's tough. And then we get the aftermath of this immediately, where Alicent goes and gets in this little piece of caca-poo-poo's backside.
And we had to see his butt, which was not a treat.
His butt. I didn't need to see his butt. The one butt I needed to see was Harwin Strong's, and I didn't get it, so I don't want to see nobody else's butt. But anyways, sorry, I was getting passionate. I did want to say I like how she pointed out first, like, you're embarrassing your wife. You're embarrassing me. You're embarrassing our family. Get your shit together. But my thing is he's shown that this is the type of person he is, and I just want to throw this out there. You really think that this guy is more capable of ruling than his sister?
She doesn't care as long as
I know she doesn't care, but like, really, ma'am? Really?
So there was a lot going on with this because he was not sympathetic to me at all.
Oh, at all.
But
No.
he brought up a good point. He really is just the monster she made him, to be honest. Mm-hmm. She has really crappy parenting. She does. So, first of all, his father ignores him completely and utterly.
First of all, his dad only has one child.
Yes, he said, my only child, which I didn't catch that till I put the subtitles on. But he spoke truth. Like, no matter what he does, it's not going to be good enough. And something tells me that's how it was before he started screwing up left and right. I don't feel sorry for him, but she is the reason he's so awful because she's so... It's like what I've talked about earlier. You can't just constantly tell a kid, grow up, grow up, grow up, grow up. They're kids. Of course they need to grow up. You show them how to grow up. And you can tell she spent Aegon's entire life telling him to grow up, but not giving him any sort of guidance on what that's supposed to look like. However, holding him accountable if he did not do the thing that she didn't teach him to do.
Agreed. I also think that the reason why he turns to alcoholism is as a means of coping with his emotions. Like, that tends to be a very big thing with a lot of people with substance abuse issues, is that it's a coping mechanism. So I think for him, obviously they don't have therapy in Westeros. He turns to alcohol. And obviously we see that type of person that makes him when he's drinking. But a lot of that is a direct result, again, of their parent. His father neglects him. His father literally thinks he only has one child. These other kids do not exist in his eyes. So his dad out of the picture. His mom and uncle have been so dead set on him being raised to whatchamacallit, him being raised to oppose his sister, not even oppose, depose his sister of her rights. So he's growing up all sorts of conflicted on how he should feel, because it seems like he genuinely doesn't have an issue with his sister or nephews until they started making him have those issues.
Well, I do think that even though he thought Aemond was a little twit. I think after the slashing out of Aemon's eye, like Aegon's a monster, but I don't think he's like that much of a monster to not give a crap about what I honestly I think it was after Aemon's eye got cut out that they started seeing Luke and Jace's op. Like seeing that whole display. So I mean, and that and like his mother's had 6 years and his brothers had 6 years to deal with all that trauma for him to kind of like, and even then it's just kind of like you could tell he kind of wanted to like relive old times, but at the same time that animosity was there. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's touchy. They all need therapy at the end of the day.
Helena, on the other hand, has done.
I love Helena. She's a queen, and I love her.
You know what I thought was like really funny during the scene when Vaemon's top half of his head got cut off? She covers her ears.
I know.
She looks
so cute.
It's a sound.
She's
She's
like
like
a
sound.
I
love
she covered her ears, not her eyes.
Wrong orifice, honey.
She's like, oh no.
That's my princess.
In front of my salad? Okay.
I was gonna say she's too cute. We kind of already touched upon this scene a little bit earlier. I just want to just bring it up again. Somebody said on Twitter, I think Daemon purposely looks for chairs whenever Alicent's around so he can actively express his displeasure with her and disrespect. Yeah. I love that. He's so sassy.
It's such a power move. And I'm like, yes, big Daemon energy. I love it. Just keep your seat, baby. You're no notes. 10 out of 10.
Yep. Keep doing what you're doing. So proud of you. I want to carry on. I did want to get into this courtyard sequence for a little bit. My poor baby Luke and his ops
look like losers.
Luke has so many ops. Look at Luke's ops. He has these 2 ops. He has this op. He's surrounded by them.
They're cute.
I do no. Okay, I think they're cute.
They're saying good kids.
They took an L in that courtyard. Nobody cared that they were there. They were like, hey, nobody greeted them. No one stopped to talk to them. They were the oddballs out. And then they had to sit there and watch their uncle not be a little turd.
They were ignored and not greeted because everyone was whispering about the bastards because of what Alicent's little asshole, her children have been doing at court.
Yeah, they looked like losers. I didn't say I think they're losers. I didn't say I think they're losers. I said they looked like losers.
I mean, they looked like losers. I thought they looked like abused children. It was sad.
I felt like they just looked like, oh, dang, I haven't been here in a while. Let's take in the scenes. And I will say the look on their faces when they realized it's Aemond fighting Kristen Cole was hilarious. They were like, oh, who's that? And they're like, oh, it's Aemond.
I do think that Vhagar has really brought out quite a bit in Aemond. Quite a bit in Aemond. I mean, they're soul bonded at this point, but yeah, because I mean, last time we saw Aemond in the sparring yard, he was just a little turd. And just the way he was swinging that sword, just like
Well, and even 6 years ago in the last episode, with his fight with Jace and Luke, he was a turd. He was a petulant, snotty little brat. And he hasn't changed much. He's just grown up into a big snotty brat.
Essentially.
I didn't mind him this episode, to be honest. Technically, he hasn't really done anything this episode. Yeah, he made that speech. Yes, however, he lost his freaking eye.
You know what?
That's really the only lens he's going to look at it. Okay, that would piss me off too. If, first of all, if you cut out my eye, I'm not going to want to reminisce about the time you were bullying me. So for Luke to look across the table and see, and maybe Luke was like wanting to bury the hatch and be like, see what good times we had. But Aemond remembered that as being bullied, you know? So, I mean,
completely valid.
Yes. And Aemond seemed content to keep his temper until that roasted pig scene.
Yeah. I was gonna say, even before that, you can tell he was like itching to start a fight because like after Kristen Cole was like, oh, you'll be ready for tourneys in no time. And he's like, I'm not looking for tourneys. He's like, nephews, you guys want to train? Like, you knew what you were trying to do. You were trying to embarrass them little boys in front of everybody. You're not slick.
I'm
His
not
entrance
saying
music is
he's
that
okay.
pink song.
I hate Aemond. I hate Aemond so much. Least favorite character when everything kicks off, with the exception of Otto. Just cannot stand him, hate him. I'm saying objectively, in this episode, he didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, no.
He didn't do anything that and let's be honest, if we didn't know future events, we'd be talking about, well, yeah, I don't blame him. I don't blame him. I don't blame him. So I'm trying to be fair here.
Yeah, when we get to a little bit further into the dinner, then yeah, I got thoughts on that because I agree. I would have did the same shit. I don't blame him for that. I did want to jump.
I see. Just Syke said he wasn't evil until Vhagar. Sorry, the chat thing went away. No,
Yeah.
there was a meme I saw.
He wasn't completely evil before Vhagar, is what he said.
Yes, there was a meme I saw that said something about like Vhagar being like the reason she let. Okay, never mind. That'll be spoilery. Never mind. Just realize we commit to no spoil. Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to jump ahead here to the scene in the Godswood, which I think is interesting. I know we've talked about it before about how in present day, and by present day I mean like a Song of Ice and Fire time period, the Godswood is not in King's Landing. But I love how they have a lot of these scenes shot there. Like it seems like to be everybody's kind of like safe space, which is very interesting because none of these people keep the old gods.
I think it's still a very calming place to be.
Yeah. It's got the right vibes. But in this scene, I think GrayArea was very smart. And Rhaenys has been around the block. She knows what's going on. Where she's like, oh, so you just thought being kind to bringing my granddaughter around me was going to soften things? Like, you killed my son. You're not slick. And which I understand for Rhaenys.
I guess what blows my mind is like Rhaenyra when she was in the Godswood back in episode 4 and she was swearing up and down to Alicent, Daemon never touched me, blah blah blah. She was just looking deadpan, dead ass at Alicent, lying through her teeth about it. But Rhaenyra was actually telling the truth when she said, I didn't order your son killed, nor was I complicit in it. But she kept looking away like she was lying.
Oh, I know. And it's funny because it's like, he's alive. We saw it in the last episode.
Is she just afraid that if she admits to Rhaenys, like, I'm sorry, like, I hope that at some point in the future, Rhaenyra will tell Rhaenys that her son is still alive out there. Most likely. Depends on if Sea Smoke returns home or not.
Yeah, I personally have this feeling it's going to be one of those Catelyn Stark situations where Rhaenys does not find out. Which I feel like, dang, this is going into spoiler territory, but
don't do it then.
I'm not going to do it. But yeah, I did like that. So Rhaenyra proposes that the twins Baela and Rhaena be betrothed to Viserys and Luke. And I love that Rhaenys also calls her on her shit, kind of like how Alicent did too. Like, oh, these are desperate betrothals. And
Rhaenyra's like, yeah, and
yeah, who cares?
And then Rhaenys is like, yeah, and it was a weird exchange.
It was, but I mean, they both saw the truth of the matter in that moment. Like, yeah, it is a little desperate, and we do need to fix this. So, are we going to fix it, or are you going to keep messing around?
And you know what? Like, yes, it was desperate, but at the same time, Rhaenyra is putting Valyrian blood back in Driftmark.
Right. And it was a good fix, desperate or not. So
yeah, they both get what they wanted essentially because she wanted Baela and, well, Rhaena would inherit it instead of Baela, but one of Lena's children would get it regardless.
And she'd have a granddaughter that was queen. Although that's something Corlys cares more about. It's made pretty clear.
Right. Which is probably part of the reason why she was more receptive to it, because she knew that was what Corlys wanted. What he's always wanted.
Yeah. And if she thinks she's about to lose him too, it makes sense that she'd want to at least respect his wishes in that matter.
Right. Absolutely.
She was very despondent by the end of the episode.
Yeah. Looked like she was in a weekend video, but we'll get to that in a little bit. I was gonna say, we've been here for quite a bit, and we still haven't gotten to one of the big moments yet. I did want to say this scene also made me cry a bit when Rhaenyra is asking her dad, like, you kind of tore things apart by naming me heir. Like, do you actually really think that, Aegon's dream, it's true, and that I'm the one that's supposed to do it? It's so sad. It's so sad because she could see her dad's like not long and for this world, and all she wants is like, yo, please stand up for me. If you really believe that I should be your heir, stand up for me. I need you to defend me and my kids.
He's like, huh?
He's like, who is this? Chocolate? I'm just kidding.
Show your face.
Who goes there? No, I'm just kidding.
Bob Marley, is that? No, sorry. I'm thinking, no, not Bob Marley.
No, it is Bob Marley.
Jacob Marley.
Oh, it's Jacob Marley. Oh, I think it's Bob Marley too. I was going to say from Christmas Carol. Christmas, yeah.
We're going to go with Bob Marley.
Charles Dickens. It's Bob Marley, guys. Look at that. You guys didn't even come here for a Charles Dickens remake, but you got one. What else?
I love how he thought that it was Allison right here, and at the end of the episode, he thinks it's Rhaenyra. This guy is so backwards right now.
It hurts.
He started a war with his senile bullshit.
Oh my god.
Okay. Whew, okay.
I'll say before we get into the next seed, I did want to catch up on some super chats real quick. Thank you, Aiden Evans. Hey, Queens, just wanted to say how I've been crying for 2 days now because of Vissy's power walk. Took all the strength he had left. I think so too, and I honestly think that Viserys literally sped up his death by exerting himself so much.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It killed him.
Yeah, that one walk.
I did it.
That's the definition of hanging on by a thread, is one walk just absolutely takes you out, literally.
Right.
Yeah. Poor guy. He's falling apart at the seams. We also have another super chat from
Finn.
Do
you remember the third Austin Powers movie with Goldmember when he would take off skin flakes
and
then
he'd
eat it, leave it for later? Okay, gross.
Yes,
I'm grossing myself out.
All right,
I lost my pinky in an unfortunate smelting accident.
I love that movie. I was gonna say, thank you for the super chat, Finn Beta Luco. The end of this is perfect. Good evening. The scene where Daemon helps Viserys up the throne really made me realize that he should have been his hand all along. What are your thoughts on that? P.S. I love you, Alisha.
I love you too. I really like that, actually. Like it harkens back to the very first episode where Viserys was sitting on the Iron Throne looking down on sorry, I saw Nuncle Ed's comment saying I'm ruining the scene. I am not. It did harken back to the first episode where Viserys was on the Iron Throne looking down at Daemon, and Daemon was like, you've never once offered to make me hand. I could have protected you from all these lick spittles and talking about Otto Hightower is a this and that, and he proved it. That's the thing. Like, Daemon never bothered defending himself to his brother. He's always just shown his brother that I don't know. I really loved it. It made me cry. I love that symbolism. He should have been the hand all along. And maybe there's a part of me that's like, Daemon his hand. I don't know. But maybe part of why Daemon acts out as much as he does or antagonizes his brother in the way that he does is because he's hurt that his brother never included him when hanging out with his friends, like a typical younger sibling.
I wholeheartedly agree. We also have another super chat from Count Balerion of House Tatters. Why did they have a misunderstanding at the end? Because Alicent decided to hear what she wanted to hear, knowing damn well he was not talking about her dusty child.
She knows good and well Aegon doesn't dream. And she's like, our son Aegon? He's like, ice and fire.
Yeah, like, ma'am.
Every little thing is going to be all right.
Honestly, Bob Marley. No, honestly, I really feel like she's kind of like, all right, the old man's having weird dreams. My daughter is having weird dreams. What is going on here?
She was like ready to go. She's like, our son, Aegon. And then, Viserys is rattled on a bit more. And she practically hopped out of that bed. And she's like, okay, I kind of expected her to smother him. Yeah. I don't know why.
I was starting to feel that way.
Pick up a pillow.
I wouldn't have been surprised if she did. Speaking of Viserys dying, we have another super chat from Shane52911. Really thought they were going to axe Vizzy at the end of the season, but since they didn't, I feel like I know what's going to happen at the end. I think we do as well, but we'll save that for a little bit later. Because remember, guys, spoilers. But getting into the episode, let's get into the scene of the petitions. So we're discussing the inheritance of Driftmark as Corlys Velaryon is having health issues. Vaemond petitions that he is the rightful heir. The Greens are just standing there to stand there and look weird. Rhaenys, no one asked Rhaenys' opinion yet. And then Rhaenyra is there to defend her son Lucerys's, inheritance. But as Sir Punk, can I say punk ass? I can say punk ass. Sir Punk ass over here getting too comfortable in that chair. Mic drop. Everybody's like, yo, who's that? Everybody has IEASS face on because know why? Big Daddy Viz is in the building. Viserys is here.
I don't know if that was purr as much as it was like, what?
No, it was more like,
what the actual. Guys. Daddy's here.
Oh, I know. I was just so happy when they were like, King Viserys, first of his name. I was like,
oh, Otto was so shook.
Look at his.
He was like, but I just got here.
Look at his face.
See, Alicent, I think she actually cares about Viserys.
She's like, oh my God, he can walk.
So she's like, there's obviously a mix of what's going on. Like, none of the Greens wanted Viserys to show up, except I don't think Aemon. I don't think Aegon, Aemond, and Helena particularly cared one way or another because they seemed smug on both ends. I don't think they cared about the outcome. I think they just love it when shade is thrown at the boys. But they were just, They kind of seemed, we need to talk about Aemon's reaction to Daemon.
Don't worry. I have it ready.
What did we call it? Oh, yes. Mandy refers to when little kids are around. She refers to someone getting a chubby as blood flow reallocation.
That's essentially what happened.
You can see that.
All the brain blood is in the pee-pee.
Head on the floor, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's my uncle, yeah." Runs in the blood.
He really did that. I do want to say a quick thank you to Nigel for the super chat. When Daemon picked up Viserys' crown, I grown man cry. I think we kind of touched on this a couple times now. I think we all ugly cried at this scene. I won't spend too much longer on how touching this is because we kind of have talked about it throughout the episode so far. I don't know what words I could say besides it was beautiful. I cried. Daemon's just about family, you know?
Yeah. Every time he gets exiled and comes back, like every episode, he's just like proves, hey, I love my brother. Every time.
Every single time. And one thing I do want to point out that I thought was dope that Viserys did was, did anybody ask Rhaenys' opinion on anything? He's like, yeah. He's like, first of all, I don't know why we're talking about this, but since we are talking about it, Rhaenys is the only opinion I actually want to hear.
Right.
Well, she was going to
he knows that
petition.
she
She
would know
just didn't
better.
get the chance. But they weren't going to hear her out. I think they already decided. And what's weird leading up to that scene, Alicent really made it look like she was on the fence about siding with Vaemond. But she was just too salty when Viserys got in that room and he decreed, okay, Luke is the heir to Driftmark again. You guys suck. Back to my bed.
And I like that Rhaenys also took I like that Rhaenys took that moment to finally like publicly agree to the betrothal, because I think with what she saw there, which was smart by holding off on it, was all right, we all heard what he said. With that being said, like we kind of pointed out earlier, this gets one of Laena's daughters on the seat of Driftmark, which is what she wanted at the end of the day. She got her end goal out of it.
Yeah. Well, and it puts the other one.
Well, Daemon called it in the beginning.
The court as queen.
Yeah. Daemon called it in the beginning. He said Rhaenys is not that cruel because Rhaenys disavowing the boys does call their legitimacy into question, which is high treason. But also, it was a big, I don't know if she necessarily meant it as a power move, but it would be perfect if it was. Because for Rhaenys to wait until that moment and make Rhaenyra sweat it out reminds Rhaenyra just how much she needs her. Just how much. Like, your fate is in my hands, but here we are. So, and the thing is, I'm not surprised, because in the very beginning of the episode, when Vaemond was popping off at the mouth to her about Rhaenyra's kids, she's like, careful, because that's treason. So she was never going to disavow those kids.
Oh, no. And speaking of treason, he just, look at him, though. He looks so good.
I can't take it seriously. It's like that kid that's like, you know, goes to pretend like they're going to punch somebody, but their fist is turned the wrong way, and it's like right by their eye, and they're like, I'm going to give you a knuckle sandwich. That's what it looks like. It's giving knuckle sandwich energy to me.
Why I oughta. Like, I love it. No, he looks gross.
Say it again, bitch. That's what it's
saying. It. Okay, just say it.
If I was 20 feet closer, you wouldn't have said that.
As soon as I get down these stairs.
Can I just say the look on Daemon's face when he's like, say it? I'm like,
right, like big Scorpio energy. Like, I've done been waiting.
Yeah, I will say, guys, I did have the image of what Daemon did, but I'm not trying to get us demonetized. So you'll just look at this cool picture of him with Dark Sister.
Just put up a picture of Gene Simmons from Kiss with his tongue out, so that they got the visual.
Oh, you're a genius, Papu.
But I didn't like the imagery in general. I didn't like the imagery in general. Like, it really was necessary to the plot, to the show. I just don't like the imagery of a white man slicing up a black man like that. It just,
no, not at all.
Yeah.
The scene itself was disgusting, but like,
with his tongue still like wagging after his
and the chin was still quivering. It was a bit much.
Yeah. The scene was disgusting.
Yeah.
But I will say, what did Vaemond expect? You just disrespected.
Okay, I think he was very
once he. You called. I'm sorry. He called Rhaenyra a whore. Like, how did he really think he was about to get away with that?
So Vaemond has always been known for malcontent, if you will. The very first scene they introduced him in, Corlys was basically like, I'm not going to sit here while you stir up mutiny among my people. So he's always kind of voiced what he thinks. I think he was just like flying off the handle angry. I don't think he was thinking at all, because he saw that as the end to his bloodline.
Mm.
It was a dumb move. It really was. I don't know where he thought he was going with it. In fact, I'm going to say I wasn't super fond of the acting toward the end. It was.
Sorry, I need to cut you off for a second. Guru, she's not race baiting. It is triggering for people of color to see other people of color being attacked by white people. We're not having this conversation.
Thank you for getting that.
I didn't see the comment, and I'm glad.
I was gonna say I
knew there was going to be someone that had something dumb to say, and to that I will say you have many, many, many options to watch reviews for these episodes. You don't have to be here. You don't. And I see someone saying, no, it's not triggering. I'm glad it's not triggering for you. You don't speak for everybody else in their triggers.
I agree. And I also want to personally move on because I don't want to give these people any time of day or our attention like that because they don't deserve it. And yeah, that's it. They don't deserve it. You guys can see yourselves out.
I'm saying I don't like the imagery in general, but I understand why they did it in this show. That's me personally.
Yeah, because I know we kind of alluded to it earlier, but in the books, Vaemond actually gets fed to a dragon after Rhaenyra has him, for essentially saying the same thing he did. Except this time they were like, we'll just make Daemon do it in front of everybody so Aemond can have blood flow reallocation.
Yeah, those were bedroom eyes. Okay, bedroom eye. Look at it.
He's like, ooh.
You said bedroom eye.
He's like, so I heard you have a thing for your brothers and kids.
There's this tweet that was like Rhaenyra and Aemond fighting over Uncle's attention. No, they both love Daemon. It's kind of weird in a weird way. Targaryens, what can you say?
But no, I mean he does have respect for Daemon. I think I even kind of see that in the books a bit. But I think it's abundantly clear he wants to be I mean, look at the hairstyle.
Yeah, he stole his wig.
My hair is more luscious, yeah.
He has a Daemon kink like the rest of us.
I think so.
Okay.
I do want to move on to the so after the Silent Sisters did a great job preparing Vaemond's body. I just want to throw that out there. Again, wasn't pulling an image up for you guys to see that. It's in the episode. I just think they did a good job preserving the top half of his head.
Well, okay. Because I was like, well, I mean, the scene I saw, I don't know. We saw different scenes.
Oh, because it was the top half, a space, the head was the bottom half. I mean, for what they could salvage, I think they did a pretty bang-up job.
Poor guy was a jigsaw puzzle.
Oh, he was. This scene was actually really sad because as they're preparing his body, like the Silent Sisters, I believe it's Grand Maester Orwyle that says, it's bad luck to look upon the face of the dead, even though his face really isn't there. But the face of the dead, and Rhaenys is like, I'm not a stranger to the stranger, if you will. Like this isn't my first rodeo. And we have to remember this is the same woman who believes both of her only children died within like a month of each other. Yeah, both by fire, actually. And her husband is presumably on a deathbed. Everything around her is kind of slowly going to chaos. Her parents are gone. Like everybody that she knows, because that happens naturally when you're getting older, you start to lose people. So I don't know, this scene just made me really sad because I realized rather than being at the dinner with the rest of the family, she's kind of standing vigil over Vaemond.
Yeah. I do wonder what she was like. I don't know. Do you think she knows Vaemond did this to himself? Like she knew the outcome. She knew the outcome.
She warned him in the first scene. She's like, be careful, what you're saying is treason. And
because I think she's definitely, she's picked her pony. She's chosen her side. Right. So that makes me wonder going forward how devoted she is going to be to it and how much she's going to be like, remember, you need me. Remember, you need me. So yeah, I don't know. She's a boss.
She
For
is
sure.
a boss. But Rainey skips dinner. Look at him. Look at him. But we do get the nod to the image from the book, which I thought was super cool. But
They did glance at each other back and forth.
they did. It's because they still want each other. Secretly.
Sexual tension.
A lot of it. They were into each other. They're so into each other. Before we get further into this dinner sequence, I did want to catch up on a couple more super chats. Thank you. Is it Najma or Naima? Tayahimba? Did the scene when Alicent didn't know the Kingsguard name mean anything? So Sir Eric with the E and Sir Arik with the A are identical twin brothers. So everybody mixes them up essentially because they're identical twins.
Because she called him Arik at first, right? And he said, I'm Eric. And she's like, oh, yes, my mistake.
It's like Fred and George Weasley.
Mom,
he's Fred. Oh, well. Okay, so yeah, spoilers. Here. We have another super chat from Michael David. Hi guys, not feeling well tonight. I need to step out and pass out. Oh no. Just wanted to say hi and much love to you all. I am so sorry we waited this long to say hi. And thank you, Michael. We love you.
He's still here in our hearts.
Yes, he is. We have another super chat from Christina. Jace with dancing with Helena was so sweet. He seems like much better young man than poor Aegon, poor Helena, who had to marry that pitiful creep. Big mistake, Alicent.
That's the most attention she's going to get for the rest of her life.
Oh, I know.
Oh, it's so sad, but it was a sweet scene. And I know that like part of it was tongue-in-cheek getting back at Aegon, but it was more that he got back at him by making Helena happy. That was touching to me because she was like, yeah, he's just going to ignore you except when he's drunk and then he might want something. And he's like, oh, you poor thing, let's dance. It was very sweet.
Right.
He seems like a very sweet kid.
Oh, and on top of that, before he even dances with her, he literally talks to Bela first, like whispers in her ear. So I'm assuming he's kind of like, hey, I'm just going to ask her to dance. Like,
can I be a naysayer? Can I be like, can I be a bit critical?
Always.
I thought it was a bit corny the way it was just like, it was very Barney and Friends to me, the way Bela and Rhaena and Jace and Luke kept like looking at their betrothed. And I get it, it's a new betrothal, but like the editing was very Barney and Friends for me. Like, and then these two are betrothed and they're like, yay. Like, look, I don't know.
I think they looked cute.
It was corny.
Look at them. They're all happy. I personally think that Luke and Rhaena probably have like a really close relationship since they like grew up together. So they were probably happy, like, oh, well, hey, at least I get to marry somebody I know.
Disgusting.
Yeah, I know, it's gross.
Oh, thank God, my stepbrother cousin.
Oh, right. Ew. It's so gross when you really like start naming the, like, it's a family wreath. It's a family wreath. But I do like, things were, it's kind of sad. This is like the happiest we're ever going to see these people for the rest of the series. Like, it's all literally downhill from here. Like,
Daemon and Rhaenyra sitting and giggling together was so cute.
It was
so cute.
I actually peeped Otto and Alicent laughing together. And I was like, okay, I didn't mind Otto in this scene. I did not mind Otto in this scene.
I didn't. The whole scene, start to finish, I did not mind Otto either. It was a very weird experience for me. But the way he, like, looked at Helena and he was just like, good job. When she gave that weird-ass speech. Like, it was... I mean, the speech was fantastic. And Otto obviously knew that it was amazing because I'm sure he knows what's going on in his grandchildren's lives. But I don't know. It showed a side of him that I honestly did not know existed.
Yeah,
but I mean, even hold on. But even in the last episode, when Aegon was passed out and he just kicked the shit out of him, I was like, okay, yeah, go for it, buddy. Like, I've had 2 moments now where Otto was like, he's okay. Just then, not anytime else.
Except for the fact that he's desperate to get that kid on the throne.
Yeah, I was gonna say about Otto. So in the you guys know, I bring it up every week, the official HBO podcast for House of the Dragon. The interview they had with the director Geeta Patel, she brought up how her and the actor that plays Otto Reese, we're kind of talking about what his motivations are as a character, like what does he really want? And a thing I thought was interesting that he said, at least in regards to his interpretation of Otto, is that Otto feels he and his daughter are the best options for keeping the realm together and ruling it that way, because obviously he thinks Daemon's just an agent of chaos and that they'll be able to control Aegon enough that they'll be doing primarily most of the ruling. And that's kind of what drives him, is the fact that he thinks he needs to remain in control, because figure he was the hand for Jaehaerys, which was very smooth for the most part reign. Viserys, same thing, pretty smooth. So I think for him, it's just he wants to remain that constant. Is kind of his motivation.
Something else that's occurred to me is everyone obviously realizes that Aegon doesn't really have any ambition in this, and that he would be very pliable because they knew he just wouldn't care, and he'd say, yeah, sure, handle it, I'm gonna go, drink and whore around. And that's what they wanted to be like the regent, but through the rest of his reign.
Exactly. I did want to ask you guys a quick question, speaking of Helena and her weirdness. Beware the beast beneath the floorboards.
Rats.
We think it's rat.
The
We think
rats.
It's dealing with rats.
We think it's B and C. We think it's B and C.
And there was even a rat slightly before that scene. There was a little rat on the platform, very up close to the bottom of the screen.
What?
Oh, I didn't even see it.
You didn't see the rat?
Now I gotta go and rat watch. I gotta start watching specifically for rats. Like
I'm always looking for rats, but there was a rat just slightly before this scene, and the beast below the floorboards to me was the rats.
I was thinking that initially as well. The only other thought I had, if it wasn't them, was Laris, because he'd be down in the dungeon somewhere beneath all of them.
So I also, the thing to think about too is it's hard to address what that means without getting spoilery.
Mm-hmm.
However, one thing the show has showed us is those passages.
Yes, and they showed us it a lot.
Yes,
we got a lot more secret passages in House of the Dragon.
Someone just called it hemoglobin and dairy. Wow,
love it.
I love it. I love that.
That one's sticking.
Yeah, that's our new name for it. I love that. So we kind of, in this dinner sequence, so we get a bunch of toasts. We had we kind of talked about Rhaenyra and Alicent's toasts a bit earlier, and Helena's. I thought Jace's toast as a way of kind of brushing out his outbursts was kind of a good cover. I get where he was going with it. Not anything too notable about his speech, but I will say, in regards to at least trying his best to keep his temper in check when his uncle is sitting there literally making suggestive and lewd comments to his betrothed, who's also his uncle's cousin. Yeah, I think the wreath continues. I think he did a really good job, and it goes to show you that he had really good home training by his mama and papa.
Yeah, he has. They are very good kids, and it's in such stark contrast to the little crops on the other side that it's like even though you know they're illegitimate, you want to root for them because they're likable.
Exactly. Also, Daemon's face, sidebar. Daemon's face when she says, like, God rest with you, like Vaemond, and he's like, really?
I feel like didn't Otto have his eyes open during that too? Just like, oh god.
Yeah. This whole scene, you know what this whole scene reminds me of is the fire and pizza scene from Community.
Oh, when he walks into the house.
As soon as Donald Glover like walks out, everything starts falling apart. It's like Viserys was Donald Glover, because as soon as he left, everything popped off, and it blew up in there. And if he had walked back in, it would have been the fire scene all over.
It's curious though that Aemond waited until Viserys left to do all that.
I feel like he's smart enough to know to keep.
I think it was a respect thing for his dad.
I think, yeah, I'll say respect for his dad. And also, I really think he was cool up until this moment. And I'm not going to lie, before Luke chuckled, I chuckled too. As soon as I saw the pig get dropped in front of him, I was like, and then Luke was just sitting there at the other side, like,
yeah. And here's, okay, I get it. Luke is like,
see why Aemond lost his shit. I'd have lost my shit too if I was Aemond. Because first of all, you took out my eye and they put this pig in front of me and you think that shit's funny. Like, that's not funny. But it is also hilarious at the same time.
See, I think that, yeah, Luke's a kid. He's what, like 13? But he's old enough to kind of like know better than all that. Like, dude, you took his eye. Not a good time.
Honestly, he couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. I did the same. I had the same reaction.
Aemond for now.
Wow, look at you.
For now.
No, I had the same reaction.
You feel dirty?
Yeah.
I feel dirty.
I do. And not in the way that I like.
No, Luke and I had the same reaction because I did the same thing. I was like, but
no,
I see both sides of it. I see both sides of it. I see.
And he knew too. Like he's just sitting there, like he's looking ominous as heck. Just like in his own way, he's like, "Say it." He's imitating. Hold on one second.
Just a cheap imitation.
He's the
Equate dollar store Daemon.
And we get this beautiful speech dedicated to his. What was it? The words he used?
His wise, handsome, strong
boys.
These 3 strong boys. And it's funny because he doesn't mention the other 2 kids. I mean, granted, he just met those other 2 kids, but still, he doesn't even mention
they're
the
also legitimate, so
yeah, that too.
Very clearly Targaryen children.
Oh yeah, very obvious there. But I'm not gonna lie, the way Jace and Luke were so ready to pop off at Aegon and Aemond because of this. Loved it.
Okay, so a couple things happened. When Jace punched Aemon and Aemon's head didn't even tilt, I was just like, oh, that's a psychopath right there.
Oh, he ate that.
Yeah. But also he was like, yes, daddy.
He was like, you didn't know I like
Which
that.
Which is also
actually.
So Daemon coded.
Yes.
He's so Daemon Jr. It's so sick.
Joke's on you because I'm into that. He just thought it was funny. He thought he got punched and then he sat there like, really? And then he pushed Jace. Mm-hmm. He didn't even, that was funny. And then Aegon got up.
Oh, and then slammed Luke's face into the table. I'm like, all right.
That was reminiscent of Daddy Laenor right there at the wedding. Just getting tossed into the table.
He's like, what did I do? Like, I'm just here.
Right.
But then we get the alpha male asserting dominance over all the little children. He puts Jace and Luke in their place very quickly. Like, all right, that's enough. But then Aemond really thought that he could just stare his uncle down. And his uncle's like, boy, I invented this.
I don't think Aemond was trying to intimidate him.
I think it was
what we have here.
Yeah, sizing
what we have here is 2 actors that are very good with nonverbals. Yes. That are very good at acting with just their face and their body language.
Yes.
And it was kind of just, they were sizing each other up, yes. But I don't think Aemond had interest in attacking Daemon like that. He knows he went too far. Not that he cares about going too far, but it was kind of just this little stare off. And I'm not reading too much into the stare off, even knowing what happens later on. I think it was just kind of like, all right. Because he knows it's not worth it.
No, but it was, I took it as like, what are you going to do? Stab me?
Yeah. You going to chop my head off too?
It was very like, yeah, it happened, but like literally, what are you going to do?
Right.
Yeah, I just took it as how do I put it? Aemond was just like, do I even want to? And Damon's like, boy, if you don't go over there to your mom and go back to your room and leave my stepboys alone before I embarrass you in front of everybody, is the look that I got. I got the boy, don't make me embarrass you look. It reminded me of a look my mom gave me before, like that. I will embarrass you in front of all these people. Please stop.
I think they're amused by each other.
Yeah, I got it from that. Like
I think so too.
I'll embarrass you. Like, it's not worth it, kid. Just cut it out. You're me. You want to be me. Like, it's cute. You're cosplaying as me. It's adorable, actually.
Like, I made the blueprint.
None of this existed without me. No,
what was it? People are saying you're just, what's the Regina George quote? Less hot version of me or something.
Essentially. Essentially. And yeah, and I feel bad because things seem to be going on the up and up for a little bit, and
that was my favorite scene. And I will go back as a comfort. I will go back and rewatch this scene over and over and over again because it made me feel good, and you can't take that from me. Fuck you.
No, it was very warm and fuzzy. I really enjoyed it.
Alisha used our third F-bomb of the day. Okay, I'm just kidding.
I'm messing with you. This is improvement.
It is. I know. We're doing good. We're doing good.
We're normally in double digits by now.
Proud of us. Go team. Ooh. But I will say, no, this moment really got me when she's like, I could come back on Dragonback. I was like, and eat cake? You guys are going to eat cake? It's going to be adorable.
That won't be the only thing they'll eat.
If only somebody.
Won't be the only thing they'll munch.
Yeah. Rhaenyra and Alicent looking real hungry right there.
Mm-hmm. Look at all that uneaten food.
Yeah. Okay. I can feel the magic between you.
No, that was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it, guys. After we get into this next, which is kind of the final scene, we'll kind of wrap up the super chats and predictions. But just kidding. Before we get to the last scene, Massaria fake out. I thought the hooded person was going to be Daemon. It's
me too.
Tyla, Alicent's handmaiden, who's also the actress, is Miguel Sapochnik's wife.
Oh,
but yeah, I feel like not really too much to unpack here. Besides, Massaria looks phenomenal.
Yeah,
and I feel like her and Larys are competing with each other right now for Master of Whispers secretly.
What is going on in the chat? Edric Storm, always out of control.
Oh, I would say I'm like frozen on super chat, so I don't want to miss anybody. But the actual final scene I was talking about here, this one. I'm just gonna. So what Viserys says.
Your kids Aegon.
That too. Stop naming the kids Aegon. But essentially, what Viserys says in the scene. I'm sorry you wanted to know if I believed it to be true. Don't you remember Aegon, his dream, the Song of Ice and Fire? It is true. What he saw in the north, the prince that is promised, the prince to unite the realm against the cold and the dark. It is you. You are the one. You must do this. Is fully what he says, and that's not including the Alicent's interruptions of Prince Aegon. After he said, "Do you remember Aegon?" Our son, ma'am, you only have one child that has dreams, and her name is Helena. It is not Aegon. The only thing I could think of is if she was thinking of that scene where they're by the fire and he talks about the dream he had of his heir on the throne and stuff like that. That's the only thing I could think of, that maybe she's hearkening back to that memory. But in the context of the situation, he's clearly not talking about your child. And if he's saying it is you, like, no, he's not talking about you, ma'am.
No, she absolutely heard what she wanted to hear.
Yeah. And I felt like she might have been like teetering on the fence of whether or not, because she does say Rhaenyra would make a great queen. And I feel like she's teetering on like, all right, do I really want to do this? Like, I think this might have been the final, like, I feel like she wanted validation from Viserys for her cause, but at the end of the day, I think she was going to go through with it no matter what. I don't know.
Yeah, no matter what, she would have still done all of this. That last little speech from him just bolstered her and made her feel like she was going to be doing the right thing, but she knew what she was going to do.
Yeah, and we say goodbye to this not so handsome face.
When
So
he
we're
was like,
gonna.
my
Yes,
face
some
isn't
people-
handsome anymore.
Some people
was-
aren't
That was
aware
cute.
that at the end of that scene that he dies. They think the scene just ends. If you're watching with subtitles on like I do, because my brain doesn't work right,
Same.
it says Viserys stops breathing at the very end before it goes black.
My subtitles don't
Yeah.
say lucky.
Yeah, I was gonna say mine. Also, you could see his chest stops moving, like he has the shallow breaths, and then one final.
Mhm.
Okay, did anybody else, for whatever reason, think that it was suddenly like someone was going to pop out from those shadows? I got really nervous and scared. It would not have fit. It would not have made sense. And I realized that, but I was like really scared that, because
For
you know that like
for a wee bit, I thought
The
she was
back-
gonna
okay.
double back with a pillow.
just pop up, surprise, mother effer. Okay. But yeah, that was the episode. Can we
R.I.P.
get that off?
Viserys.
Can we get that? Oh, never mind.
Oh yeah, no, I moved it. I couldn't look at it too much longer.
Sorry, I was looking at the screen for the live chat, which is delayed. So yeah, no.
Okay, yeah. I'll say before we move into like some thoughts for next episode, I do want to just catch up with these super chats real quick. Thank you, Derek Taylor. Matt Smith ad lib helping Patty Considine to the throne scene. Yeah, so I take it you guys have seen this by now too. So Matt Smith, the scene where the crown drops and he goes to pick it up and then continues to walk with Viserys was actually improvised. Like the crown dropped on accident, and Matt Smith, being the amazing actor he was, fully in character, just went for it. And I'm so glad that they kept filming because I think it was one of the best moments I've seen in this series so far, personally.
That wasn't planned.
No, it was ad-libbed.
No,
The blocking and the editing was impeccable. Then
it was amazing. They really pulled that off. And I saw something also that said that scene was ad-libbed because it didn't quite go how they thought it would, but the actors are incredible. And you literally never would have known that it wasn't supposed to be there.
I didn't know. Oh, yawn. I didn't know until now. So I was kind of hoping he would be like my king, but then I'm like, but that's not Daemon.
No.
He's just gonna quietly brood about it.
That's not me. I'm just kidding.
No, that's not me.
We have another super chat from Dro the Gooner. Thank you. Alicent molded Aemond into her sick version of Daemon. The Greens needed to match Rhaenyra's unhinged warrior with one of their own. I love that take because I absolutely agree, especially after Otto saying like, "Oh, that rogue Aemon did us a favor by winning Vhagar, blah blah blah." You know what I'm talking about from the last episode?
Yes.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, no, that was the last episode.
Yeah.
That time jump threw me off. But yeah, I definitely feel like they were like, "Oh, can we get our bargain version of Daemon?" And they did.
Do you think Aegon is the only child that Alicent doesn't like?
I'm starting to think that because I feel like she's probably like, if only Aemond was the one in this position.
Yeah.
Maybe for now, I think that she's starting to see that Aemond is not the best candidate for tense situations, and I think that she thinks Helena is weird. And because you don't really see her interacting with any of her children. Like, we see Rhaenyra and the boys all the time talking and, you know, going about their home life, but the only time Alicent approaches her children is when she's telling them off about something.
That is very true.
We got one scene with Helena where she's holding that friggin' bug, and she's just looking at her like, you weird little bitch. And then like we don't see her with her kids like at all after that, unless she's, you know, ripping Aegon out of a window.
Yeah, oh my god, that scene was so gross.
So he doesn't spray paint the town.
Essentially, she should have known he was a delinquent. She's constantly walking in on him in his butt, like his bare ass.
At this point, she doesn't.
She doesn't care. I mean, it's her kid. I mean,
I feel
That's
yeah.
still
I feel
weird
like
as hell.
one day when I have a kid and he gets older, it doesn't matter if I wiped his butt when he was a baby or not. I don't want to
Right.
look at
Not a baby
a
anymore.
grown butt. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know, but
I
I
have
don't
grown
know.
children. I know what that's like, and absolutely not.
Oh, when it's horrifying actually. Like, ah! But like, she's just like, I think used to it by now. She's like, oh, whatever, kid. But we have this other super chat. Thank you from JTS616. I think Otto truly believes he's doing right, but in the worst way possible, and is an a-hole. I couldn't have said it better myself. I couldn't have put it any better. Exactly.
I agree. And as they say in Captain America's Civil War, the dangerous ones are the ones that think they're right.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Captain America Civil War, totally unrelated.
Power behind their convictions.
Captain America was right because the Sokovia Accords were repealed, but unrelated. That's to do with She-Hulk. But anyways, we have another super chat from Christina. Do you think Larys and the White Worm know about each other and what the other is spying on at any given time? And what's up with the dagger singing when Viserys died? The Song of Ice and Fire hint? Ooh. So I would say with the Larys and Massaria, they absolutely definitely know each other. And I'm wondering if they're going to be the Littlefinger Varys kind of equivalent for the show.
Like friends?
Frenemies, more or less like competitive co-workers.
Competitive co-workers.
Varys and Littlefinger kind of were both like slimy little Cretans, and they kind of remind me of Larys and Massaria in that way, where I feel like Larys is more like Littlefinger and Massaria is more like Varys in the way that they operate. I don't know, spitballing here. But also the dagger singing when Viserys died, I actually did not catch that. Did you guys catch that? I caught the close-up, but I didn't realize there was like,
but I believe it happened because this is the third person I've seen of their own accord pouring it out.
That absolutely happened.
Huh.
Ooh,
I
so
mean, it did zero in on it, and not for nothing. Not zero in, but it did zoom in on it, and not for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's definitely a hint. And it makes me start to think if he's having visions of who that heir is, maybe it was Daenerys, but that's a whole other rabbit hole. Not only that, till we get Winds of Winter, we'll never know. Thank you for the other super chat, Ijovu. Aemon gives me Ivan Drago vibes from Rocky.
Now I must break you.
He does a bit. A bit.
He dies.
Yeah, if he dies, he dies.
They have another super chat. Thank you. Now I feel Aemon is looking for a fight with Daemon.
They're both. No. Daemon is a Scorpio. I think that Aemon is an Aries.
Yes, absolutely. My middle one is an Aries, and I can vouch for this theory. I think they're sizing each other up. Yes, Aemon wants a fight, but Aemon is also smart enough to know when to pick his moment.
Yeah.
So this particular moment, he was not looking for a fight with Daemon, but he was letting him know, hey, someday it's going to happen. Someday. Not now, but coming for that ass.
Oh, definitely. Speaking of things that are to come,
very quickly before we move on, can I just say thank you so much to everyone. You have spoiled us with super chats tonight. You're amazing. Really? We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes, truly. Honestly, thank you guys so much. We really, really appreciate the support. With that being said, we're moving into spoiler territory before we head out for the night. So again, spoilers for the next episode and potential season finale. Spoilers. You're still
Okay.
here?
Yep.
You're here?
Spoilers. We
You're
get
here?
it.
Spoilers.
All
All
right.
right,
Don't
we're
want
here.
to hear the spoilers.
All right.
Now's the time.
Spoil.
Make your exit. We love
No.
you. See you
In
next
3,
week.
2, 1.
Spoilers.
Just kidding. Just kidding. I didn't have it ready. In 3, 2, 1.
Spoilers.
Reels this time.
Oh my God. Okay. Yep. Spoilers. Let's go.
The Conqueror's Crown.
Underwhelming. I'm not trying to be okay. No. Okay, I'm done.
It's underwhelming. Honestly, it kind of gives me the Kings of the North vibe, like
I was
Rob's
expecting
crown.
rubies. Like,
Yeah.
okay. The only reason I say underwhelming is because those aren't rubies. The actual design of it looks cool.
Yeah,
So
it definitely.
Yeah.
Also, I like the way Aemond is kind of side-eyeing his brother. Like,
yeah, man, jealousy. Oh, it looks like he is wearing. Yeah. Eamon looks like the kid at the party that just sits there and thinks everybody's stupid
oh, he's definitely that kid. He's definitely that kid.
and just wants to be in his room listening to disrespect your surroundings. Okay.
He looks like the kid. You know that meme where it's like the kid sitting in the corner and everybody's dancing? It's like, oh, they don't know that, blah, 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 whatever. Insert joke here. That is definitely Aemond. He's that kid.
They
standing
don't
in the-
know that I'm flying the biggest, oldest dragon.
Everybody dancing
in
like,
the
yeah,
known
bro, we
world."
get it. We just don't care. You're a dork. But we also have another super chat. I cannot speak right now from the OG Triple OG Josh. Thank you all for another great stream. Thank
You're
you again.
Thank you, Josh.
I slaved
Josh.
over a hot stove for it. Just
Thanks
so you
for-
know.
joining us. So we also get it's happening, guys. It's happening.
Ugh.
Finally.
Okay, so I see why so curious say they're definitely going to toss him out the window next episode. So okay, so that's still at the top right corner. Beesberry is definitely taking an eternal nap right here. So I think that Kristen Cole does cut his throat in this scene.
Yeah. Also,
And then
if
that's
we look-
definitely Harold Westerling. They're about to go at it.
I was just about to say, it looks like this is a small council. It makes me wonder if Sir Harold Westerling is protecting Beesberry and they both get taken out, possibly.
I'm pretty sure I saw a still because people can't seem to help themselves but to post every spoiler on the internet. I'm pretty sure I saw a still of Rhaenyra walking into the war room at Dragonstone and Westerling is standing there. Plus, someone's got to get away to bring her crown.
So, fun fact about that. So, remember how last week we were talking about, and I was like, oh, maybe it's Harold Westerling that does it. Thank you for bringing this up in the chat for Nicole Taylor. He was also in this episode. I forgot to point him out earlier. Stefan Darkland has been cast. There are shots of him. He's the one in the book that does take the crown away. And he has been cast. There have been shots of him. So I think they're going to keep that.
I just think it's a waste of it's a waste of an actor like Graham McTavish.
Yeah.
To just kill him off after.
Yeah.
He hasn't done enough. Unless there's like 50 deleted scenes with him and them. Which,
I mean, for me personally, if he goes out nobly, I don't mind because he's obviously in the book. He is long gone by this point. Yeah. Because Kristen Cole has to become Lord Commander at some point, unless they kind of have two different Kingsguards, and he's just the Lord Commander of Aegon's, which I wouldn't mind them doing that as well. But
and here we are.
I do like this twist though with Otto having about the door remains shut until we finish our business, but how it cuts to Rhaenys being stuck in the Red Keep. So I'm wondering if Rhaenys,
how do you think she's gonna get out?
That's what I was gonna say. At first I was thinking, oh well, Corlys, they did say Corlys was only 3 days away, and at this point he probably would have been.
So he's just gonna sail up in his ship and be like, get in, loser.
Yeah, we're going
get in, loser, we're going to Driftmark.
I was gonna say a blockade, but no. I think when they steal away the crown, that whichever member of the Kingsguard does it, if it is Stefan Darklin or one of the twins or Harold Westerling, that they are gonna try to get Rhaenys and the girls out too, because I believe Rhaenys and Bela are probably still there at the least.
Yeah.
Because Rhaena would have went back with Rhaenyra and company, and they left in the middle of the night. Like, they immediately left. So
I wonder how much dragon action we're getting in the next couple episodes.
Oh yeah,
I think probably the last episode will be our big dragon moment.
Yeah, I think we're heading to Rhaenys' ancestral seat.
Right.
Put it that way for the finale to.
Well, we've already talked about how we can discuss spoilers now. You know,
I don't want to give that.
I know that y'all don't want to speak of the vampire that did all that monstrosity or whatever, but I don't give a crap. His name is Mike. Storm's End. Luke's death.
Rip. I'm gonna be so sad. I liked him, but yeah, I definitely think that's because I know we talked about it before the season even started. Kind of what we thought the pacing was going to be, and I think we kind of all felt like that made sense for a season 1 ending or early season 2.
Yeah, because if it's just episode 9 is Aegon and his crew being like, okay, Aegon's king, and then episode 10 is Rhaenyra being like, okay, well, I'm queen then. That makes for...
Do we have the names for the next 2 episodes handy?
Yes, actually, the Green Council is 9 and the Black Council is 10. Or the Black Queen, sorry, my apologies.
Yeah. So something's got to go down.
Yeah, I'm thinking Storm's End seems like the logical, final scene of the season.
Does that mean that hemoglobin and dairy is really early on in season 2?
Yeah, I know I've been saying it for a while. I think no later than episode 2 of season 2, at the latest, that's going down. Yeah. Just because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they said their plan for the dance itself is 3 to 4 seasons. So they got a lot of story to tell.
Yeah, I've been hearing 4.
I think 4 makes the most sense.
So that means first season there, it's just like quick, get through the background. And then I really do think the next 3 seasons are going to be extremely fleshed out.
Yeah, I've been treating the season as a prologue season for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, yeah. It's pretty much what it's been, because the time jumps have definitely made it feel that way, because we're just getting exposition, and then
we better get flashbacks.
F all happens, and then exposition. So I've felt like it's more of like you said, a prologue season, because there is so much history before we get into the meat of the actual conflict, and all of it is necessary for the conflict to make sense. So I understand why they had to do it that way, but the first season is just very kind of, I don't know, like Alisha said, left some things to be desired.
Oh, absolutely. We do have another super chat. Thank you, Nate. Maybe Rhaenys will escape by riding her dragon Meleys, since she flew to King's Landing in the first place, written in Bela's letter to Daemon. I kind of figured that as well. And secret tunnels are always a good way out. That's all I'm going to say about that one. I could see them possibly using a secret tunnel or passageway to get them out, too. Ooh,
yeah, that's really
maybe Mysaria helps out.
No. Okay. I think okay. I wonder what the pacing is, because remember in the trailers, it shows her talking to Alicent and they're face to face, and she said, have you never seen yourself seated on the Iron Throne?
Ooh, you're right.
So I wonder if this is before or after she gets locked up.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
Well, we will see. So, it kind of wraps it up for tonight. Thank you guys again for hanging out with us. We really, really, really appreciate it. As always, please, like, subscribe, leave your comments, share our lovely, after shows with your friends and family. We'd love for, more people to join the Direwolf City team, fam. I don't know. What are we calling them, guys? What are we? A pack? Direwolf pack?
The crew.
A crew. The DWC crew. The DWCC.
We're a family.
Family.
Oh,
okay, Dom, take it easy.
Alisha dumped her. But yeah, any final thoughts before we head out, ladies?
It was a very good episode. It was the best episode so far.
It was. It was very good.
I 100% agree. It's my favorite of the season so far. Also, if you guys have questions about that 6-year jump and are a little discombobulated, you can always check out my channel, I
go.
Eat Zebra, plugging away, which, in the description. GrayArea. Sorry, MG couldn't make it tonight. She had a major technical issue, but hopefully that doesn't impact her breakdown because that's in progress too. But yeah, so we will see you guys next week for the penultimate episode of the season, episode 9. Yeah, that's about it. See you guys next time.
Stay sexy.